So first and foremost, really it's about setting up your home for a loved one who has Huntington's disease and creating an environment that is supportive, safe, and comfortable, right? This is your home. We want to make sure that we increase safety and independence and that we adjust this living environment over time as things change. So always reassessing the here and now and meeting the here and now. So we're going to walk through the home. We're going to look at the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the living room, kitchen, mobility, safety inside the home, around the home, and making sure that we keep it the safe zone and that comfortable, supportive environment. So just thinking about moving around the house, how do we do that safely? Making sure that we are doing it so that someone feels they can move about their space safely, easily. So stairs are a big deal, and you want to think about stairs into the house, in the house, out of the house, transitions, right? How do you go from living room to kitchen? Are there stairs there? How are you going out into the garage, right? Where are your stairs and your access points? You want to make sure that there are secure handrails everywhere. Wherever there's stairs, there should be handrails. You can have handrails on the walls. You can have freestanding handrails. There's many ways of setting that up. Or installing ramps. These can be handmade ramps, they can be bought ramps. So 2x4s, you can make this happen. You want to go about the house and look for tripping hazards. Where could we potentially have a fall or a trip? And the most common things to do this are rugs, throw rugs. They should be taken out. Anytime you have a cord that goes across a walkway, right? We have lamps that are plugged in, we have computers that are plugged in. Cords should be tucked away, taped down, and out of the way. And coffee tables and end tables, they should be put up against the walls, taken out of the room. They should not be freestanding and in people's way. You want to make sure you have ample space, whether that's for somebody with chorea, somebody with coordination difficulties, whether there's a wheelchair or a walker in the house. You want to make sure that there's ample space to move about the space comfortably. Make sure everything's lit up. So you want lighting on stairs, hallways, rooms, so as you're transitioning from one room to the next, that you can see everything. You can see it clearly so that you can get from point A to point B safely. And then motion detectors. So they don't necessarily, the lights have to be on at all times, but if someone's moving about in the space, that it can trigger the lights coming on. So be mindful about that. Yeah. How do we make our bedroom safe? So consider placing the mattress against the wall or on the floor to avoid falling off while sleeping. Make sure you're removing or securing all wall decor to avoid having it knocked off of the wall. And especially if there's any glass decor, should be taken out of the house, because if that gets knocked or off the wall or off a table and breaks, that is a big risk for getting injured. Remove all of the rugs, throw rugs again, trip hazards. Consider taking bedside tables and moving them out. They're not necessary, and there's a risk of hitting it or bumping against the night table. Take away any freestanding mirrors, again, big risk. Any lamps or things that could be knocked over. So things need to be secured to a wall. So standing free lamps or lamps on tables can be a risk. You want to cover sharp edges of dressers or bedroom furniture to avoid injury. Amazon has lots of wonderful options. This is toddler proofing the corners of the nightstand or chest of drawers. So consider that so that there are no sharp edges is what you're trying to avoid. You can do this using towels and duct tape. You can do this using Noodles that you use in the swimming pool, or you can get the fancier stuff here. So there's many different ways of securing this area. Consider using waterproof mattress covers or pads in case of spills or accidents. They can easily be taken out. Maybe get a couple of them so that it can be easily changeable. And then you may need to consider, if it's a 2-story house, moving the bedroom downstairs. And you want to keep downstairs a very comfortable, inviting area, and moving the bedroom downstairs avoids having to go up and down the stairs. So a consideration if you're able to do that within your home. It's not always possible. All right, let's move from the bedroom to the kitchen. Consider removing knobs from the oven or stove, especially gas stoves. If they get knocked or turned and the gas is on, but it hasn't lit the fire, it can be obviously a risk. Consider taking the knobs off when you're not using them, keeping them in a nearby drawer. You can easily access them. Sharp objects should be safely out of reach and put away. This includes scissors, knives, some can openers are pretty sharp, so consider putting that away in a drawer or safely out of reach. Often replacing glassware with plastic can be really helpful. That includes plates, cups, bowls. It just makes it easier if things drop or are knocked over, that you're not worried about breaking them. You want to remove any food or beverages that come in glass containers and then put them in plastic Tupperware or something to store them. So in case they do get dropped, we're not worried about glass being broken. Put cleaning supplies in a locked cabinet. Cleaning supplies can be toxic and quite dangerous. And use plastic reusable cups with lids and straws. This helps prevent spills, and straws are easier to swallow the liquid. And then keeping a lid on top means if it gets knocked over, you can easily just pick it back up again. Consider no slip or non-slip materials under plates and bowls so that if it's moved about, it can stay in place easily. Some kind of have bowls that suction down and actually suction to the table itself, or you can have a no-slip pad that you put the plastic bowl or plate on top of. And consider weighted utensils. There's something called liftware. It can be expensive. Over here, and it allows you to bend the top of the spoon to easily use it, and one kind of moves with you in case Korea is an issue, and it goes with you and adjusts its position. Within the kitchen, kind of thinking about mealtime, you want to make sure that you're minimizing distractions. You want to avoid difficult to eat textures, so soft, smooth meals, making sure that it's not tough, difficult meat, making sure things are moist and easy to swallow and chew. Consider cutting up food into small bites that are easy to eat and chew, that the textures are consistent. They're not having to move from one texture to the next, which can be a little bit more challenging and hard to adjust. Reminders about slow, safe bites. One bite at a time. There's a tendency to eat quickly, eat fast, and stack food, and it's hard to remember not to do that. So just sitting by and making sure we're taking one bite at a time, swallowing it, and then before we move on to the next bite. You want to organize so that the daily items are easily accessible, so that your refrigerator is organized and you can open up the refrigerator easily and take out the item of food to eat, and that it's prepared and ready. And then consider meal delivery, if that's an option for you and your family. It makes things a bit easier on you as a care partner as well as on your family member. And then moving from the kitchen to the family room, again, you'll hear a theme here. We do not need side tables in all of the rooms, so consider placing or removing your coffee and end tables. Getting them out of the way creates more space and takes away some of those potential hazards of knocking into them. Place your couches in front of windows so that if your loved one falls on the couch or they fall on the couch and not into a window. So if you trip and fall, and your elbow goes through a window, you get your couch in there first to be a buffer for that potential fall. Cover sharp corners again, especially around anything like a fireplace where it could have tiles or metal. Avoid leaving stuff around, right? You want to keep things put away and clean and clear. I understand as someone who has a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, that can be quite challenging sometimes. But think about as you walk through rooms, picking up stuff along the way at all times. So get rid of shoes, clothes, toys, anything that can be on the floor that doesn't need to be there, that could be a trip hazard, and put them away. Whether that's just you have a big basket that you throw things in just to get them out of the way. Think about things that can be convenient or easy. Consider buying covers to protect the furniture from spills or accidents. And then be mindful about freestanding lamps, fans, decorations, things that don't need to be there. Oftentimes we like to have lots of pictures of our families around, which is really nice, but if those are freestanding pictures, they can be a risk for bumping into them or knocking them over. Oftentimes they have glass in the frames, right? So these things can be mounted on the wall or put up a little higher, put away. So again, just clearing the clutter that doesn't need to be there. And then make sure all chairs and furniture are stable. So no swivel chairs, no rocking chairs on wheels, right? We need things that are secure unto themselves and that don't need us to be secure upon them. So getting rid of those types of items. And then moving into the bathroom. So the bathroom is a scary place, right? It is wet and it's usually very slick surfaces that once they get wet can be very dangerous with a slip hazard, right? So we want to make sure that our bathrooms are safe as we can. And there's usually lots of tile or hard things in the bathrooms as well, that if we fall and it's in tight spaces can lead to injuries. So we just want to be extremely mindful in the bathroom space. So oftentimes we have to modify the bathrooms, which can be challenging. So you want to have grab bars, I just say, everywhere that you can think about that you potentially might need a grab bar, put a grab bar there. An extra grab bar is better than not having a grab bar. So grab bars in the shower, around the bathroom. So you can see here, there's a grab bar near the sink. There's grab bars next to the toilet. There's a grab bar probably in transition to where the shower into the next to the chair is. So you just want them in any area where you're going to have to stand securely for a period of time, and in areas where you're going to transfer from one section of the bathroom to the other section. So again, have them everywhere, right? Make sure that the mats that are in the bathroom do not slip. So they have a no slip bottom. There's a lot of towels that we just throw on the ground that we step out of the shower, step on it, and any one of us could slip on those easily. So make sure that there's a no slip mats there that can be picked up after you use them. They don't have to stay there. Sturdy no slip shower chairs. So you can see a shower chair over here where you have some place that you can sit down on the outside of the bathtub and slide yourself over to the inside of the bathtub. And that way we can modify the existing tub that's there and work with the tub. Make sure that there's padding between the wall and the toilet tank, right? So you have your toilet tank, and then there's padding behind that so that if you have an HD loved one who has chorea, where they potentially could bump against the top of the toilet, they could bump that and break the top of the toilet, and or it could bust through the drywall. So this is one of the things that we don't think about as often, but putting some padding behind there can save your wall and your toilet from injury. Make sure that the toilet seat is raised, and so that you can easily get up and down on the toilet seat, as well as having some nice grab bars by the side. Think about putting padding around the lip of the toilet seat to protect the loved one's back, right? So you lift up the toilet seat to sit on the toilet, and if you have chorea, you can bump into the back of the toilet seat. Now that's a rim that you can injure, or it can just frankly hurt and not feel great. So if you put some padding around that, if someone does bump up against that side, they can protect their back from that. Remove sliding shower doors. They are usually glass and they're in the way and they're not necessary, so get them on out. Having a handheld nozzle is just very helpful. So when you're sitting in the shower chair, you can just have the handheld nozzle and be able to use it conveniently and easily. Make sure it's long enough. And sometimes you can mount them lower. Oftentimes you can have the handheld nozzles that go up and down on a pole, so you can have them up higher for someone can use it when they're standing up, versus bringing it down lower so you can easily access it and then be able to independently shower yourself. And then consider things like cordless razors, large. Nail clippers are hard to hang on to, right? They're teeny, some of them. So getting the bigger, more robust ones so that they're easier to use. Thinking about electronic toothbrush, so getting assistance in doing these things can add a sense of ease. Just make things more accessible and easier. We're all about easier, right? We need to be mindful about communication, which can be a little bit more challenging over time. You want to make sure that the environment is distraction-free, right? All of us, if there's stuff going on, we get distracted easily. And especially with HD, it's hard to concentrate sometimes when there's lots of noise and chaos. Again, I understand that there's lots going on in people's homes, so that can be challenging. But if you're really needing to focus on communication for a particular reason, make sure it's done in a room where you can have it be quiet and calm, distraction-free, the TV's off, the radio's off, the kiddos are otherwise occupied, and that you're able to have really good eye contact and give space and time to allow for the communication to occur. Allow time for loved one to respond. They know what they want to say. It just might take a little bit longer to put the pieces together and get it out. So just give them time and space to do that. It's important to think about yes and no questions and maybe limiting choices. Instead of giving them 5 options of what do you want for dinner tonight, maybe 2 of kind of their more popular ones. And that way they can decide, do I want A, B, but not A, B, C, D, E, or F, which you're like, I don't know. And then consider, like I said, yes or no questions. Make sure that the telephone is easily accessible and that they're around the home in various different rooms and that it's easy to use. Crikey, there are some just fancy technologies out there right now that are making these devices really cool, but frankly, they're complicated. How many times have you looked down, there's 3 remotes? I still don't know how to turn on my TV properly. Is it this remote? That remote, I'm supposed to use that one, then that one. Simplify it. It can just be a simple press button telephone or a simple remote, turn it on, turn it off. So keeping things simple and straightforward is really helpful. Labeling things. This one, right? You use this one. And putting the other ones away. So taking the extraneous away. Consider using voice-assisted devices or other communication devices like iPads that have letters or pictures that can help. Oftentimes they have words or sentences. They're pretty smart. They get to know what you're trying to say. Or simply pictures, right? How are you feeling today? Happy? Sad? So it can be really helpful. And these sorts of things open up your world, right? If you're having a hard time communicating, that's the way we connect with other people and make our needs and wants known, right? So you want to keep those lines of communication open. This is what I call miscellaneous. There's lots of kind of other stuff that come up that are important to also pay attention to. Some of our HD patients smoke cigarettes, right? Smokers, what do we do for smokers? Think about lighters. No matches catch things on fire, right? Lighters you turn off, on, off, done. Think about an ashtray with water in it. It's to push out a cigarette takes some time and it's not always put out completely. So consider having water in the ashtray so it's for sure put out. And then sometimes people have used fire retardant aprons. You can actually buy those online and make sure that someone is wearing it. That way if they're smoking and they let the ash get really long and it drops onto them, that they have something that protects them in their clothes. For impulsivity and fall risks, you might consider medical straps to keep your loved one from falling out of chairs. It's not uncommon for people to impulsively get out of chairs or especially wheelchairs. And that can be dangerous, right? That can lead to a fall risk because they're not doing it maybe safely. And so there's some nice soft straps that can help you, almost reminders as one tries to kind of sit forward. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. And they can be soft, but make sure that you're never leaving anyone unattended using a medical strap because they're not 100% perfect. So you want to keep people safe more than anything. Swimming noodles are awesome. They work they're a great trick. So swimming noodles are those foam things that you float on in the pool, and they can be cut up quite a bit and used to keep different surfaces safe. So oftentimes there's a lot of cool new wheelchairs out there, so with good padding, but if you don't have access to that, putting the noodles around wheelchairs so that people are not rubbing against metal or bumping themselves against the metal pieces. Again, you can use these on corners of tables as well, so they can be used for lots of things, and they're usually pretty cheap. You can get them at the dollar store. So that and some duct tape can do a lot. Oftentimes people can forget their walkers, right? So their walker's over there, and they're over here, and they're trying to get from here to there, and oftentimes the falls are, oh, I wasn't using my walker. I say, everybody has their seat. We usually have our seat in the house that we tend to sit at. And I say, put a little square piece of duct tape right in front of them. And if there's not a walker in that duct tape, then it's somewhere it's not supposed to be. So it's almost a reminder that it needs to be right in front of you, right there, not here, because this is where you could get up and walk without paying attention, but right here so that you walk into it and have to use it. The other thing is put a bell on it. If you're not hearing something dingle as you're walking, then you have something that's not with you that should be with you. So think about that. It also alerts the care partner, oh, they're on the walkabout. Let me go check and make sure that they're okay. So it's cueing for both people, and it's actually really helpful. We're human beings. We forget things. It's normal. It's natural. So any reminders to help us keep these healthy habits is really effective and important. Make sure there are no guns in the home. Guns should be out of the house, as well as knives or anything that could be potentially self-harming or dangerous. Sometimes people have guns that they inherited from grandma who inherited from the family before for their family before. And so it's a treasured item. If you have something like that's okay, keep it locked up and make sure there's no ammunition in the house. All right? Super important. Quality of life. How do we keep things feeling good in this environment that we're creating to be safe and supportive? Household calendars are great. We want predictable environment. We want a household calendar that tells us when are we going to wake up, when are we going to bed, when are our meals, when are our chores, when do we exercise, when do we go to the grocery store, so that we can predict things on a weekly basis as well as on a monthly basis, where you create your calendar that tells us that Nana's coming for a visit in a couple weeks and I can predict that's happening. Choose meaningful activities with minimal stress, right? Doing more is not always good, but doing the things that feed your soul and you enjoy in a minimally stressful way is super important. Making sure that there's access to TV, music, computer, video games, the things that they enjoy. Making sure things are comfortable, your chair is comfortable, good cushions and protection, and that there's a safe, accessible outdoor space. There's lots of equipment that can be used. Walkers, we love the Nitro Drive, wheelchairs, hospital beds. There's anti-tip devices for wheelchairs. Consider home cameras to check in on your loved one if they're home by themselves during the day and you have to go to work. There's lots of smart cameras, Nest cameras, where you can actually turn the camera on and be like, hey, how's it going? Okay, all right, have a nice day. Just a check-in place. Alert equipment like alarms on doors can help making sure there's safe footwear, no platform shoes, no slip-on shoes. They can be very dangerous. Motion sensor lights, wearable trackers, and then voice-assisted technology. We all know about Siri, right? So things that can help and ease access. Here's some examples of the anti-tip, nice cushion so you can't slip out, anti-slip for the wheelchair, and that's the pad, and then this is that Nitro Drive, which is a great walker. Right here. Oh, and there's a beautiful example right there. Woo-hoo! They're super light, they're easy to use, yes, they have a seat that you can sit on, take a rest, they're lovely. This is the schedule that I mentioned. Again, make sure there's a monthly and a weekly schedule set up. And outsource. So I love this quote, you can do anything but not everything. If someone asks if they can help, the answer is yes. Absolutely, yes. Friends and family want to help. We love helping, right? If that's respite, so you can have a break, can I fix something? Can I mow your lawn? Can I make you a meal? Can I drive you to such and such place? Yes is the answer, okay? House cleaning services, if that is something that you can do with your family, and meal delivery services, anything that can make your world easier. There are in-home support services that can come in and do in-home evaluations, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, social worker, nursing. Talk to your healthcare providers about getting these services to you and your family in your home. And those are our tips and tricks. And I think I am out of time. Ooh, I have 1 minute. So if anyone has tips and tricks that I did not mention that you have learned through your journey with HD and your loved ones, please feel free to speak up and shout out. It's from you that we learn.